It's Peaches here, and this is Peaches Pit Party, the podcast. A lot of puh sounds with that title. A replay of today's full show, which you can hear weekday afternoons live on K-Barrel 101. I hope you like what I have to say, and if not, well, then I'm sorry, not sorry. Enjoy. Hump Day, August 14th, 2024. Hope all is well with you. It has been an eventful day. We're getting through it. Not necessarily an eventful personally day. It's been rather easy. It's just loaded with emails today. A whole lot of going back and forth with people. And I figured why not start off the show with something nice and heavy from Ice 9 Kills with Corpse Grinder of Cannibal Corpse. I remember when Patrick from Ice 9 Kills, who's not going to be on tour with them this year, they have some guy named Adam as part of the band now. I forgot what band he was in before this. I think he was in Patrick's other band. But Patrick, their original drummer, when he was here in studio with me, and we were playing Take Your Pick on the air. He didn't believe we were playing that on the air because no other rock radio station would play something like that because it's too screamy, too scary. I mean, I don't think any rock radio stations play Ice 9 Kills at all. That's really weird. I couldn't imagine calling your station a rock radio station and you're not playing what's popular out there. You're just playing the same old, Kickstart My Heart from Motley Crue, In Bloom from Nirvana, which I consider that to be the most overplayed song in all of radio. Every single rock station I have listened to has had some cheesy imager, we rock, and then it goes right into that dun 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 dun. It's the same song on all stations. If I was a member of Nirvana, I'd be making that bank. Man, I wish I was Dave Grohl. Yeah. Anyway, 208-535-1015 is the number to get a hold of me. Coming up here, got some Stone Temple Pilots and then another band that doesn't get played on the radio at all, Knocked Loose, featuring Poppy Suffocate. Continuing our afternoon here together, it is Peaches Pit Party. I also have a huge fear of fish, any type of major sea creature coming after me. And I'm in like the middle of the ocean, maybe even not that far into the ocean. I just look underwater and see some giant sea creature aggressively wanting to eat me. And I just saw this story here about two California kayakers that were followed by a 14-foot great white shark. And it was all caught on camera. This guy from Oakland was kayaking in Half Moon Bay with a friend when he noticed a fin sticking out of the water. And so he said, we just try to keep each other calm and not give any reason for a reaction from the shark. And I just let it towards some seals. And eventually it let us go. This dude just got some innocent seals killed. He's like, hey, eat these seals and not me on this boat here. And I've seen those people not necessarily just kayak in the water too. They've also kayaked in like those transparent little boats to where you can see below you. That'd be terrifying. There's also that other Instagram video that I should put up on our social media pages of a few kayakers in a bay somewhere. But there's a whole bunch of seagulls flying over them, which shows a sign of, hey, there's some food on the surface. There's, little fish on the surface that these birds want. And this person who was in the water at the time next to the kayakers took the camera and went underwater with the camera and showed this giant whale shark just eating krill from the surface. And it looked like it was about to just take that kayaker in one big gulp. It's best to just avoid the ocean altogether. San Francisco, one of the worst cities to live in. It's a beautiful city to visit, but if you were to live there, good luck. I guess San Francisco residents near a Waymo parking lot. What's a Waymo? Is that some sort of grocery store? These residents are saying that the driverless vehicles that are taking over San Francisco sometimes start honking at one another in the middle of the night for no apparent reason. Some person said over the past 2 weeks, I've been woken up more times overnight than I have combined over 20 years. Waymo says they are aware that in some scenarios, our vehicles may briefly honk while navigating our parking lots and are working on a fix. So Waymo is the company behind the driverless vehicles. That's just that's such a San Francisco problem to deal with. Oh, our driverless cars are honking at each other. And it's driving me nuts. Turn it off. I'm used to the train horn going off at like 6 in the morning. And for some reason, that's not nearly as bad as a car alarm or a car horn. Car alarms are the most annoying thing. They did a great job making those extremely loud and annoying. They happen on my street sometimes, and You always get that one person who's trying to turn it off and they're hitting their keys together and it just keeps going and going and going. It just happens. It's very weird how train horns are not nearly as bad as car horns. And this was a big time conversation between my friends and I on Discord not too long ago. My friend Christian has an older brother named Ryan. And Ryan decided to marry a woman that's originally from New York City. So she is a stay-at-home mom. Ryan is a graphic designer of some sort. He does make a great amount of money doing that type of work. And so the wife, the now wife, was saying, hey, we should move to New York. They moved there because her family's from there. And then they decided to have the wedding in New York. So Christian and the rest of Ryan's family were kind of screwed in a sense because they had to pay an extreme amount of money for a plane ticket from Southern California to New York, get themselves hotel rooms, all of that stuff. And I'm relating that to this story about this couple that were selling wedding tickets for $333. I guess Nova and Remo Styles, they sold tickets to their June 2023 wedding to help recover costs. 60 guests paid $333 apiece to witness the couple tie the knot. Guests received a seat for the ceremony at St. Patrick's Cathedral, a tour to various New York City landmarks, and a steak and lobster reception at the Freedom Tower. The couple saved about $70,000 by charging guests to attend their wedding. However, some commenters called the unconventional move tacky and rude. It does seem like it. I would not be showing up to anywhere if I had to pay money, especially if I had to pay $300 to go see two people fall in love and have my single butt, sitting there like, when's it going to be my turn? No, thank you. All the college football mega mergers over the past couple of years means more travel for a few teams, but UCLA's players will really be tired of planes by the end of their first season in the Big Ten. The Bruins have 6 road games flying to Hawaii, LSU, Penn State, Rutgers, Nebraska, and Washington. All those flights add up to 22,000 miles traveled with 5 round trips across multiple time zones. The farthest UCLA traveled for a trip last year was 760 miles to Oregon State. The head coach at Alabama, Kalen DeBoer, is it Callan or Kalen? Has found a fun twist to training. His players are now using the EA Sports College Football 25 video game to learn the team's playbook. During a recent interview, DeBoer admitted that the game is not only entertaining the players, but also helping them understand progressions and plays. We'll see if all the time spent with the video game will pay off as Alabama is set to kick off their season on August 31st against Western Kentucky. And in pro football news, last year, quarterback Will Levis was drafted by the Tennessee Titans. At the time, he was a big-time prospect as he was drafted number 33 overall, but he also got the attention of the sports world because of his quirky habit of putting mayonnaise in his coffee. Now, Levis is trying to capitalize on that quirky habit as he's teamed up with, I'm going to call it Heckman's, to create a mayo-scented cologne called Will Levis No. 8. The fragrance, which combines notes of lemon, coffee, and, of course, mayonnaise, is already a hit and sold out quickly. Yeah, I really want to see somebody go out there on like a first date and say, hey, you know what? Let me put on my mayo coffee cologne to impress this special someone I'm having at a dinner. Yeah, we'll see how that works out for them. Anyway, that does it for your Shot Clock Sports Update right here on K-Bear 101. I was laughing at this compilation that was 8 minutes long. There's a college basketball player named Angel Reese. She's really good, but, there's a big-time joke about women's basketball and how they suck at the sport, how it's completely different from men's basketball. And I myself, I'm a fan of women's basketball. I think it's fun to watch. I went to a few Sparks games when I was living in LA or living close to LA. But Angel Reese, there was a whole 8-minute compilation of her missing layups, which happens if you play basketball. And I'm sure the person who made it is not that great of a basketball player. I'm sure it's like some fat guy who likes to make fun of, women's sports and just decided to edit that all together, spent the time to really put together all the clips of her missing layups. I wonder how someone gets access to film like that. Do they just record every game and go, oh, she missed a layup. Let's mark it down on this piece of paper here for when I need to use that later. Imagine if you were to have a compilation of how many times you messed up at your job. How many times I messed up here on the air saying a sentence. That compilation would be weeks long. I've seen some weird food combination news as of late. Wasn't there cookies and cream and Coke? They were trying to combine Coke with a cookies and cream flavor to it. Does not sound appealing at all. And now I'm seeing here Cinnabon and Warheads are the collaboration you never knew you needed, is what the headline says. Cinnabon announced it's coming together with Warheads for a limited time collaboration that will bring a burst of unexpected flavors to Cinnabon bakeries nationwide. This looks awful. There's blue raspberry like sprinkles on top of a cinnamon roll. Then there's like this blue drink here. There's blue, so it's blue raspberry, green apple, and watermelon. Oh, it's called the blue raspberry chelada. Cinnabon says it's the perfect way to cool off from the summer heat. This new beverage is a treat for your taste buds, bringing the tingly Warheads candies to Cinnabon's classic frozen chelada. I don't like the word tingly in that. Whenever you describe something as tingly for a food item, that just sounds weird to me. Gives me that same gross feeling as some people experience when people say the word moist. The word tingly doesn't, like ASMR tingles when you drink the frozen chelada from Cinnabon. Would I try it? Maybe. Will it be good? I don't think so. Gen Zers, some of them are getting married, and they're regretting their tattoos that they got when they were quote unquote young, even though Gen Zers are not that old. Most of which, I would not say most, I'll say some Gen Z brides with tattoo regret are going to laser treatment clinics to remove unsightly ink before weddings. Today, as a matter of fact, is National Tattoo Removal Day for whatever reason. But this girl who's 18 years old, she was 18 when she got her first tattoo a decade later. How is she a Gen Zer if she's 28? That's the tail end of being a millennial, is being born in 1996, which is the year that I was born. So I'm on the tail end of being a millennial myself. I don't associate with the Gen Z crowd whatsoever. I think of Gen Zers as like 20 to 23, 24 maybe. But this girl, she formerly had meaningful quotes inked on both her forearm and back, a decision she now seriously regrets, saying they made her feel like a book. Well, how do they make you feel when you first got them? And I have seen some of those dumb tattoos of people with like a page of a book on the side of them, like on their rib cage. Am I supposed to like stare at your rib cage and read the entire thing? It just doesn't make any sense to me. I've seen people. I think one guy I used to play basketball with has a whole tattoo of some sort of essay from his chest area down to like his waist. Am I supposed to be like, hey man, take your shirt off. I want to see that tattoo. I want to read the whole story on what you got there permanently on the side of you. During my lunch break earlier today, I was listening to that Octane channel just to see what they're playing, see how the DJs sound, because they talk quite a lot on that channel from what the listeners say on their fan club group. You know, people for some reason on that group are so incredibly toxic. They're just awful when it comes to any song, what the DJs are saying. I saw somebody say, oh, now that Katie Babs is pregnant, we don't have to hear her drone on and on the air. I'd be furious if I was a DJ on Octane and people were just trying to make fun of me in the comments. I'd be roasting them on the air every single day. It'd be awful. But it was funny because I'm on my lunch break listening to that channel just to see what they're playing, what the DJs sound like I said. And out of nowhere, out of this like soft Breaking Benjamin song, I think it was one of those weird Aurora versions of one of their regular songs that they decided to play. Just you hear the soft piano, and then you just hear the DJ come on and go, I really like Cheez-Its. I love Cheez-Its, is what the lady said. And I'm sitting there going, huh? And then she just went on to talk about the merger between two big companies, like I guess the people that own Mars and Snickers and all that bought another company for $36 billion, and somehow that was going to affect her Cheez-Its. It was just a very weird segue to come out of a song and then go, I really like Cheez-Its. I didn't realize some schools are already starting. I started to see those, the same old pictures on social media, like especially Facebook, of people showing off their kids going first day of 6th grade. And it shows them awkwardly in front of the house with their backpack and stuff. It's only August 14th. I'm really shocked that kids are already starting school. I remember my birthday, August 29th. It was around the time that school started when I was, growing up and such. And it was always awful trying to plan a birthday party. Because it would be like everybody's like first day of school, like that day or even a few days later. So nobody was really happy during my birthday. my first day of college was on my 18th birthday. It was quite an experience that day. I've talked about that on the air before, about how it took me 3 hours to find parking. I missed my first class, ended up parking in the very last spot in one of the lots, ran to my next class, went back to my car after that class to go eat my lunch in the car with the AC on, and my car battery died. And so my parents had to drive from Steel Beach to Fullerton to help get my car, get a new battery for my car, while I went to basketball practice. And during that first week of being a part of college basketball, they made us run 5 miles around the track and then have practice afterwards. And back then I could do something like that out of nowhere. Now it would take me a minute to warm up and such, but I don't think I could do 5 miles around the track consistently. That would take some training for sure. But back then, for some reason, they just decided to force us to do that. I think they were trying to get rid of the people that just wanted to be on the basketball team. It was somewhat of a tryout, even though I was already on the team, as well as a few other people. They were just wanting to get rid of those that wanted to be on the team but didn't want to take it too seriously. They went, running around 5 miles around a track, forget that. Practice afterwards. And then I drove home that night and I crawled from my car to my parents' front door. I don't think I've ever been to an incredibly bad show, even just terrible show. I think I've only ever been to great shows. There have been bands like openers who I have not necessarily been a fan of, but am I going to say the show was affected by their performance? No. I just look forward to the bands that I wanted to go see. And so somebody in this Facebook group that I'm looking at asked the question, what are some of the best and worst concerts you've attended recently? Not many people saying anything bad about any show. Most people are like, yeah, I've never been to a bad concert. I just went to Slipknot, Knocked Loose, and Orbit Culture. They were amazing at Madison Square Garden last night, which that's pretty cool to have those three bands at Madison Square Garden, one of the largest, most famous venues in the country, maybe even the world. Another person saying, I haven't attended any bad concerts this year. I saw Static X, Seven Dust versus Me, Smash into Pieces, A Mice and Men, While She Sleeps, Architects, and Imminence. Good opening bands as well for those concerts. Imminence was my absolute favorite. They are just one of the best bands that I've seen live. They're amazing. I'm seeing Dead by April next month. Hopefully, they'll be just as good as the rest. There are some people now that I'm looking into this comment section here going like, well, maybe this band could have done this, but nothing really necessarily bad, which is great to see. Great to see. I might need to save this question for a future to peach their own. So a Texas man unleashed the fury of his neighbors after going for a walk with his dog while completely naked. The man who's still strolling the streets of San Antonio. Wait, he's still strolling the streets? Was detained after a number of his neighbors called 911 to report a problem. Authorities say the man was high on mushrooms and officers gave him a courtesy ride home. So they weren't mean to the guy. They were just like, hey, come into the car. We'll put something on the seats to protect the seats from your bare butt on them. One of the locals who reported the guy laughed off the whole situation, saying, I thought, how dare he walk his dog without a leash? At least it was not anything bad. I thought, like, this guy would have ended up arrested for public indecency and blah, 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 blah. They're just like, hey, get in the car. We'll take you home. Lock the door. Walk your dog when you have clothes on, that type of thing. I should have saved this story as well to do a double dose of what the headline today. Why not? A Florida woman, she's been accused of swapping price tags at Target to pay less for larger ticket items. According to a loss prevention officer, which is always funny to me, that they call the people at Target that wear that special vest loss prevention officers. Carla Nishikura removed price tags from clothing, replaced them with cheaper tags, even placed a pencil box price tag on a Lego set. Legos are notoriously expensive. Nishikura allegedly used the self-checkout to ring up $19.50 for $268 worth of goods there. I don't know how they caught her. Maybe like they looked at her receipt or something like that at the end and were like, yeah, this doesn't add up. How do you have this many items for this low of price? Or did they see her just rip off one of the price tags, replace it with the other one? It is pretty funny just to see this actually happen because there's been memes online for a little while now about people scanning the PlayStation 5 as a tomato and then running out of Walmart. Peach's Pit Party about to wrap up here on K-Bear 101. I was seeing this news about, I was reading the news here about this SNL cast member named Bowen Yang, who revealed that a previous male host once made several cast members cry at a table read by rejecting their ideas for his episode. He called the experience terrible, but didn't actually name the host. I think the entirety of SNL is just downright awful. I have never found that show funny. There has never been a sketch of theirs that has ever made me laugh, even in the slightest. I used to have a friend named Bobby, I've mentioned him on the show quite a lot, that found SNL hilarious. He would show me all these different types of sketches, and I would sit there just emotionless on the couch like, oh, am I supposed to laugh at this? Because it's dumb. And then it's working for SNL sounds like a nightmare. Hours upon hours of creating these sketches constantly, having to rehearse them before the live show, having to deal with these prima donnas in Hollywood that are hosts of the week and such. It would suck. And it also sucks that it really does suck that Bowen didn't name the host or name the person who was a downright terrible person. I'm guessing it was like James Corden or something like that. James Corden was one of the worst people, and I'm glad people outed him for being such a terrible person out in public. He just wasn't funny, wasn't a great TV show host. I'm glad he's off. Thanks for listening to Peach's Pit Party, the podcast. If you enjoy the show, please share, subscribe, and rate the podcast. Peach's Pit Party is hosted by me, Peaches, and is a production of Riverbend Media Group. For more information or to contact the show, visit riverbendmediagroup.com. Until next time, Peach out.